Hi there, Christian Henson from Spitfire Audio here. I'm really excited to show you today our new N7 vintage keys range in partnership with North 7 Studios. One of the reasons I'm doing the walkthrough today is Paul knows I'm a recovering funketeer, so I have had a long love affair with these kinds of keyboard instruments. We've sampled 4 classics which are presented in a very vanilla form on the root page of the instruments list, but we've also gone to town on presets, both vintage all the way to super fat like this. Okay, so let's start with the electric piano, absolute classic instrument, and if we drag it in here, you'll see it's presented in a very pimped up version of the eDNA or electronic DNA interface, ostensibly giving these fantastic vintage keyboards a very 21st century front end. I've done some very long tutorials on how to get the best out of it, and they're worth a look if you want to get into tweaking these fantastic instruments. But the basics really are that you have 2 signals up here, both on the bay A and bay B, and you simply crossfade between them like you would on a DJ mixer with this crossfader here. So let's have a listen to how it sounds. So let's have a listen to some of the other signals. So we've got a Marshall on the right there, and this is a Watkins amp. Very different sound. A bit more bite when you hit it harder. And then these tines, fantastic. You can, the sounds of the actual tines themselves. So if we pull the pans in here and then mix it here, you can really, great sound. So let's move along to the Wurlitzer, which is great for R&B, but also made very popular for pop by the likes of Elton John and, of course, Supertramp. It has a really beautiful soft end when you play quietly. But packs a real bite when you play it harder. Awesome, really versatile. Let's have a listen to some other. This is the Mesa Boogie amp. So the signal really changes the character. This beautiful speaker on the front end of a Wurlitzer. And you don't have to use both signals, you just have one as well. Also recorded some shorts which have a very different, distinct character, and you can really nail the super trampy kind of vibe with these. Fantastic. Let's go along to the ever funky clavinet, made famous by Stevie Wonder in his classic Superstition, which I believe he actually originally wrote for Jeff Beck. And the reason he used the clavinet was to describe sonically what he thought the guitar should do. Barry Gordy, I think correctly, insisted that Stevie Wonder release his version too. I'm also a massive fan of Herbie Hancock, especially the Headhunters stuff, and he used the clavi with a lot of wah-wah. And you can hear the signals really change the character of the instrument. Okay, so let's move along to another signal. So it's a ribbon mic, gives a softened sound. Lovely bottom end on these as well, absolutely fantastic. Awesome. Now we're going to move along to my favourite of the library. I guess it's probably my favourite because it's actually my instrument. It's a 1962 bass electric piano. I think the first keyboard instrument ever released that was dedicated to bass, but it has a really fat low end, and it offers up a harmonic potential that creates amazing dub bass lines, sub bass, and I think some of the bass sounds in this library are worth the price of entry alone. So let's have a listen. And you've just add a little bit of EQ, you can discover that the sub-harmonics in there are really something else. So let's have a listen to that with just the EQ pumped right at the bottom end. Yeah, there's a sleeping troll under that bridge. You can also use it for those classic Ray Manzarek style walking basses. And let's have a listen to another amp. Real smooth sound. And the tines. God. Okay, so those are the vanilla signals. Let's move along to the presets. I'll start with the pragmatic effects, which are a bunch of classic vintage style effects and some more progressive ones. And you'll see that we've applied them to all of the instruments. So what I'm going to do is I'll just focus on the electric piano so you can see how much the sound can change. And let's start with the, see how that we can use the gate sequencer to create a beautiful tremolo effect. I've also created a stereo one where I've staggered the signal, as you can see there, for a stereophonic sound. Next up, a classic phaser. Great kind of Bob Jamesy sound there. And the autowah. And if you spread the chords out, there's this wonderful rippling effect. And here's another autowah here for more funky stuff. Great. We've also got this lovely Leslie, which is a rotating speaker, which has a beautiful, it suits all of the instruments here actually. You can control the speed with the mod wheel. Excellent stuff. Now let's load up the crunch. You can imagine what this will do. We've got this lovely ambient effect with crotchet tremolando or force. Beautiful stuff. And I think we've done a really super ambient one, which is fantastic for this kind of... ideal for your next Blade Runner score. And let's now move along to some fun I had with megamorphology, which is just an indication of what you can get with the eDNA engine. Good starting points. So let's have a listen to this one. And I also really enjoy the lo-fi stuff where I've kind of monkeyed around with the tuning of one of the bays compared to the other. Beautiful bottom end. Here's a slightly more honest version. And because we have this synth front end, you can mess around with the ADSR, the attack of the instrument. And here's a more sensual version. So it sounds almost like Brian Eno or Daniel Lanois. So let's finish up with my favourite part of the library, the bassology, which I really genuinely feel is worth the price of entry alone. These are all made from the electric piano bass that I've got, and it's so super fat and original with that bite that you can only get from a piano instrument, I guess. So let's have a listen here. Absolutely stunning, and a slidey version. And this named after the brain aneurysm I had when I was 25, which I wouldn't recommend, but I do recommend this bass sound. And then if we move on to this one, you'll see it's surprisingly modern and current. And excellent. And then if I just pull up this last one, it brings us back to the sound I played you at the beginning. It's absolute filth, coupled with a slightly more rounder sub bass in the instrument below. I think I just made a mistake in my underpants. Brilliant. So in summary, I've been waiting for years for the right opportunity to sample these instruments, and in Simon Changer and Sean Hargreaves, we have found two kindred spirits who have totally got the Spitfire way and have captured a set of pristinely maintained instruments in only the way that an in-demand engineer and successful session musician can. They have the spirit and life. They've not ironed out the creases, and thanks to Sean's collaboration throughout the entire process, they have a response that is realistic, dynamic and musical. As a recovering musician myself, I'd have no problems taking this out on the road. As a composer, the eDNA interface has already me down a space-age rabbit hole for the last fortnight. So anyway, thanks for listening, and next time I'm sure Paul will be back in this chair.